Hey guys, welcome to Making Mindfulness Fun. I'm Gabby.
I'm Isabel. I'm Robin.
Here we help you on your journey to higher consciousness so you can experience more joy, love, and liberation from negative emotions.
We share tips and ideas with you every day on how you can live the life of your dreams by being more mindful in fun and simplified ways.
Please be sure to like this video so that we can reach more people. Make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single video. And make sure you turn on post notifications because we're going to be putting out a lot of content and we want to make sure you get to see it all. Today we're going to talk about the Enneagram.
So the Enneagram is another type of personality archetyping system. And what I like to think of the Enneagram as opposed to what Myers-Briggs is that Enneagram talks about what your soul desire is, what the core desire of how you go through your life.
Yeah, and also the huge thing too is that knowing your Enneagram also covers your core fear. So also another way that you can see the Myers-Briggs versus Enneagram is that the Enneagram is more about how you see the world versus how the world sees you. It's not so much about, oh, you look very outgoing and you love to be social. While that can be influenced by your Enneagram, it's more about what your core desire is and how you show up to the world and what you're seeking.
And it really helps with your programming because, everyone's taught to be successful and success is always defined as money. But the thing is like, it's how we use our money. Like, depending on what your Enneagram is, your core desire is to use this wealth that you accumulate in a specific way. And how I might want to accumulate money or wealth and provide security for myself is definitely something different than maybe what, our Enneagrams are different. So it really does play a role because we can get caught up in the idea that like success means money, but actually for most people, success means being able to align your life with your Enneagram.
Yeah. And for me personally, I'm young, so I know I still don't have such a level of awareness and some of it just comes with experience. But for a while, I had a lot of trouble always understanding myself because I was kind of bad at taking things with a grain of salt. And I'd be like, well, what am I? I don't understand how I work. And the whole concept of mindfulness was confusing to me because I didn't really understand myself. And so I always naturally love typology things. And so I discovered the Enneagram and I'd look into astrology. But then one day I discovered the Enneagram for the first time. I'm like, ooh, a typology thing sounds so fun. And I read it and I was mind blown, to be honest. I was reading it. I'm like, this is crazy. I didn't even understand that my Enneagram applied to my work life, every aspect of my life was making sense suddenly. And it helped me so much with cultivating a mindfulness practice and living in alignment because another thing the Enneagram covers, which I think makes it so powerful for mindfulness, is it covers what you're like in stress and growth. It says it gives you signs of what you're like when you're unhealthy and how you can be healthier. And that was a huge one for me because it helped me so much with being able to push myself and take myself into higher empowerment and also take care of myself and do self-care as well. And it gave me so much direction that was so powerful.
Yeah, and like you just said, I think mindfulness or Enneagram essentially gives you a clear path for mindfulness if mindfulness seems too vague of a subject for you. And on top of that, I think Enneagram is really important because in our courses, we often talk about self-limiting beliefs, right? And I think I use the metaphor of self-limiting beliefs are kind of like a phone ringing and you don't know what the number is. And so when you discovering your self-limiting beliefs is starting to look at the phone number when it rings. Because normally most of us don't pick up the phone if we don't know what the number is, right? But becoming aware of your self-limiting beliefs is like, oh, I'm going to check the phone and see if is that ring true to me? And so Enneagram is that system of finding out if that rings true. When you look at the Enneagram, it's sifting through the process of is this me? Is this what my core fear is? Is this what my core desire is? And Enneagram opens up so many possibilities for being able to apply it to optimizing your ultimate happiness in life, which you talked about. And so really quick, if you don't know what the Enneagram is at all, do you want to explain the general how it works, how the 9 types are?
Sure, there's 9 numbers. And with that number, you're going to test. And, we have a really great course that kind of walks you through this because sometimes it seems like everyone tests wrong, honestly. You need to test with somebody who knows you really well. A best friend's good, but honestly, if you're in a relationship, I think a spouse tends to be even better, or a significant other that you've been attached to, because they see some of the dark sides of you, which is what's kind of cool about relationships. But you want to test with somebody who you know. And then I like to say, like, reverse architect it. Like, really look at, because there's certain numbers that would easily mistype. So say like a 9 and a 2 might seem very similar, or a 3 and an 8 might seem very similar. But sometimes like a 6 and an 8 could seem similar. But let me tell you, if you're typing yourself and you're a type 8 and you think you're a 6, or vice versa, you're like completely, it's like you think you're calling Whole Foods for a delivery and you're getting Domino's bringing in pizza to your house.
That's a great
totally getting the wrong message.
Yeah, and because it'll change your core desire, right? And so that makes such a difference knowing it.
So once you actually know the correct number, I'm going to say it again. Once you actually know the correct number that aligns with you, you want to look at it as your strength, what the strength is there, a little bit of like what the weakness is too, but more importantly, like Isabel mentioned, I would say to start off by looking at what number you grow to and what number is stress. So personally, I'm an 8. I grow to a type 2. I'm stressed. I'm more like a type 5. Now, all types are equal. They're all wonderful. But what it gives me an indicator on is I do really good as an 8 in our travels, in our adventure. But when we're not traveling, I get so focused on data, like making blogs, making videos, analyzing things, that I become kind of unhealthy. So it's not so much that for me, travel is amazing. It is amazing. Adventure is amazing. It's that it gets me out of my head and into my physical body. It was also great for me when my kids were young, because I, as a mom, naturally wanted to nurture more. So it brought out my type 2. Things that we can set ourselves up for in our life that nurture that growth number, or to catch our stress number, are really important.
Yeah. So let's go I'm going to really quick touch on the traits and the core desire of each type. So if you're listening to this and you haven't done the test yet, maybe you can get more of an idea on what your Enneagram type is. So as we're talking, you can kind of pinpoint like, oh yeah, that's probably me. So first you have the type 1. Each of the types are named after the 9 numbers. So type 1s are called the Perfectionists. Their core desire is for things to be perfect and for things to be morally right. These people are great at being managers, wouldn't you agree?
Definitely. They keep things in order. They keep everything running smoothly.
Yeah, we actually have a grandmother who is this type, and we always laugh going to her house because she has 2 separate towels in her kitchen. One is specifically for drying dishes, and the other is for specifically drying hands, and you cannot mix up the towels because she has a system for it and you do not get it messed up, and I'm terrified every time going in there, and I just stay out.
I guess it makes sense, right?
And it's good if you're a
type best.
Yes. You usually know, we know another person who their garage is completely labeled with boxes that are, everything's in its spot, and that's great. You need to make sure like that, that all numbers are great. It's just interesting when you are not wired that way to be like, whoa, I can't believe somebody takes the time to think through this.
Yeah, and so then for your growth, then that helps you. For your growth, you learn to be more relaxed and letting go of that perfectionist. And that's not to say you release your core desire of perfection. You just learn to have a self-love for yourself, regardless of feeling that you have to uphold these values. You're going to be supported and you're going to be, right? Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
And then for type 2s, I think you can speak best about type 2s.
Type 2s are the helper. My husband, their dad. They literally, so this is where I think about money, because if I ask my husband, what do you want out of life, or what's your goal? He's like, to make money. And I'm like, how much? In the end, he just wants to feel needed. He likes to feel like he's helping, whether it's helping me, helping a client, helping his kids. Everything in his life is to set up to help, because if we go on a road trip without him and he stays back to make money, he's like, I'm not helping so much anymore here. So it's awesome. The type 2s, they make a big impact in the world, but sometimes it's hard because type 2s aren't the best at taking care of themselves. So we will, in future videos, be talking about how we can help type 2s to be more mindful and really clue in on what they need, because it's great that you give to the world.
Type 3s. So type 3, their core desire is to achieve, and I think they're called the achiever, right? Mm-hmm. And so, of course, being an achiever is great. It makes it much easier for you to be driven to succeed, and because you're so driven, you usually can succeed. And so that obviously can help you in life. But at the same time, type 3s also have difficulty with no amount of achieving is ever enough for them.
So the thing is with type 3s, while it's great for them to want to achieve, they also get caught up in that achievement because it's their core desire. That's the thing with each Enneagram, is that because it's your core desire, that's great and you should absolutely fulfill it, but you also need to allow yourself to have growth. It's like if you want to have a chocolate cake, you can have chocolate cake. That's fine that you have the desire, but you can't just eat chocolate cake. That will be unhealthy.
For Gabby, while we always know that she's going to keep climbing these amazing routes, she's going to be a 512 climber pretty soon. She's going to do all these. I always try to just bring her back to like, well, just enjoy the process. You are going to keep achieving, but you know, there's some joy in between each gold medal, and that's the big thing with 3s.
Yeah.
Type 4s.
And type 4s, oh gosh, I always struggle to explain type 4s because I always get worried that I'm going to dramatize them. But type 4s are called the Individualists. These people's core desire is to belong and understand and have their own identity and understand themselves. But also, it's not that they also have a desire to be unique. They express this through having their own aesthetics and individualizing themselves and expressing themselves through creative arts. So these types can very much be seen as the stereotypical artists or the creatives.
And a lot of times usually the best artists in the world are type 4s. That's their gift, but at the same time, overly expressive side of them can also get the better of them, and they can become caught up in their own emotions, which is
it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm so unique, I'm so different, but please, I want to fit in at the same time. And sometimes it's hard. It's probably for a type 4. We don't actually have any type 4s or 1s in our family, but we have all the other numbers. 4s, it's a little bit more of an internal battle of navigating that line between your sense of individuality, your uniqueness, and being part of a tribe.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get to type 5s.
Type 5s, that's my oldest son. Type 5s are so data driven. They have all the information. You're great at researching. The thing is sometimes type 5s don't like to pull the trigger on anything. And so they know all the facts. They're going to tell you all of it. They have a great opinion of it. They spend a lot of time in their head researching, acquiring knowledge, or acquiring time for like whatever they're into. But sometimes it's hard to get type 5s to engage in the world, whether even through just emotional engagement or through actually like if they have all the information for taking this trip, oh, this is where you should go, this is what you should do, but they don't tend to go take the trip. It's often an indicator it's a 5.
Type 6s are called the Loyalists, type 6s are kind of funny because they can be often confused for a type 2 because they're so loyal. They usually want to help, but the difference is type 2s want to help. Type 6s want a loyal connection with people, and they want to feel that like they can trust others and that others can trust them. Type 6s at the same time, their downfall is that they can be untrustworthy of people. Like you can see a pattern here that people's best gift is also their downfall.
Yeah, and so the thing with type 6s is that their core desire is a sense of safety and security. And so these people can tend to seem worry-warts. We know a few type 6s, and while they do have that anxious side to them that is always wants to know what they're getting into before they do it, and with people as well. I have our younger sister's a type 6, and you can definitely see our loyalist type 6 come out with her friends because she'll be super loyal to them at first and I want to just hang out with you, I just want to protect you, I want to be with you, and then they'll do something that kind of triggers them or triggers her or that she doesn't like, and like, oh, I don't trust you, I don't like you anymore, I don't want to hang out with you, you don't feel safe to me. And so for type 6s, your growth is to just allow yourself to relax and grow into a type 9 and just be.
I was saying my mom's a type 6, and she's so nervous and worries so much, and it's not something she's necessarily aware of, because if I make jokes about it, she'll be like, I'm not like that. But it's truly, I understand from practicing mindfulness so long that she's just at a place where she wants just to know that, like, okay, this path is laid out for me. There's safety here. It's like you have they need more of a roadmap that's very clear to know before they're going to set off on that journey.
And then we get to type 7s, the golden retriever human beings. I just love using that analogy.
I think type 7s are the easiest type to identify, honestly.
You'll be able to tell a person's a type 7, or if you're a type 7, if you love people, you love socializing, you love having fun, you are the most fun in the group most likely, and you just have endless amounts of energy to play and experience life. These people, their core desire is to have positivity and joy, but that's also comes out as their worst fear, or as what they're most afraid of is that they can't handle negative emotions. And so this is where a mindfulness practice can really come into play and be really helpful, is that it helps you embrace those negative emotions, because type 7s, when you can embrace your negativity, you become like a superhuman and you are amazing to be around. So overcoming those negative emotions can be hard for you, but mindfulness will really help those types with that.
Yes. Okay, and speaking as a type 8, we are very intensity driven. We are called the challengers. We want to challenge every idea. We want to take on challenge. Now, as opposed to a type 3 who wants achievement, I think for the most part, type 8s do achieve a lot, but achievement is not necessarily their highest purpose. Their higher purpose is to step into new challenges. So I think of when we go, all of our adventure sports, where Gabby's way more advanced in like climbing and surfing, and and to me, I'm like, well, I surfed today. Now I want to go do mountain biking today. And now I want to go do this, because I need more diversity and challenge through intensity, I guess. And so, as a type 8, we have to catch ourselves like that. And I know also, we'll go into this more in other videos, but type 8s, we seem like too much for a lot of people, and that it probably plays a role, I know it does for me, on other type 8s to have this feeling of, oh gosh, people don't know how to handle me. They don't like me. They think I'm too intense for them. And the cool thing about type 8s is like, we actually want to help the world. We really do want to see the world be a better place, but we have to find a way to navigate it with that, like that two of us that bring it in with compassion.
And then later we'll talk about too, we're not going to talk about it in this video or else it'd end up being way too long, but chakras then will play a huge role on your Enneagram type and where you need to focus on, and that can give you a lot of insight too.
And then last is type 9, which is Isabel.
We are the best type. I'm just kidding. A type 9 would never say that. So type 9s are called the Peacemakers. Their core desire is for everything to be in harmony. So these types can tend to they do not like conflict very much. And they have trouble challenging themselves. So that's something you want to keep in mind in your mindfulness practice if you're a type 9, is that you're going to notice that you do not like discomfort. And naturally, as you become mindful and you practice mindfulness, discomfort comes up along the way. You're facing those negative emotions, those programs, even challenging yourself. And as a 9, that can be scary, but it is for your growth. And so keeping in mind as a 9 that you just want peace and that you're always going to be easygoing and just practicing realizing what you want and what you desire.
So another key part to keep in mind with Enneagram is that you have a wing based on whatever number. So number 2 could have a 2 with a wing 1 or a wing 3. It always has to be next to your number. You could be I'm an 8 with a wing 7. Isabel's a 9 with a wing 8. Gabby's a 3 with a wing 4. Your wing always has to be an adjacent number. But that's a really good indicator when you test yourself, is to look at the possible wings, because the wing tends to be the behavior, and especially if you haven't been diving into mindfulness for a really long time, how you see yourself might not be your true self. It takes a while to strip away all these things that we've told ourselves that we are, and really look at where our true feelings are coming from. So I think of Isabella as a 9, as she's done all this work on mindfulness, her 8 wing has come out more and more. People who just meet her now might not see her, especially if you see her on her own Instagram and leading mindfulness courses. She's way more assertive because her 8 wing comes out. As a type 9 as a kid though, she was way more like, give me some wool socks and a
just
comfy
blanket. I want to watch shows for hours on end.
When she was a baby, she would just sit in her crib and watch baby Einstein for so long. Yeah. So when we can kind of look back, and I think of myself as a kid, I'm like, oh yeah, I was type 8, but I had a wing 7, and I wasn't actually that like, where's the party? I was kind of quiet, but I also wasn't a very healthy child. And now as I felt more confident into myself, my 7 wing is like, woo, it's ready to party. In fact, it parties too much. So little things like, for us, because we study this so much, it's really obvious. If we meet you, we're like, oh yeah, you're a 3-2, not a 3-4.
And it's not like we're trying to put you in a box and you're like, oh my God, you're a type 4, that means you're so annoying and you're just gonna fail at life. No, that it's purely a tool for understanding yourself. It gives you a great starting point in a
and
map
to understand
for your
others, because
mindfulness.
a lot of times we it's hard to have compassion unless we can put ourselves in other people's shoes, and understanding someone's Enneagram is putting yourself in their shoes so that you can have empathy and compassion for them.
So we highly encourage you right now to go take an Enneagram test and find out your Enneagram type. And we will be on our blog, makingmindfulnessfun.com. We will be putting out a blog soon on what specific mindfulness activities will be great for you based on your Enneagram type. So
And I
please
believe
check
we just
that out.
published an intro to Enneagram, right? A part one out of a multi-part series on what is Enneagram and why it matters. And then also, if you just want to avoid the whole process of mistyping, you should definitely check out our Precision Personality Hacker Masterclass, which you can get for only $7 in our Empowerment Framework bundle, which you can see in the link in the description. And that really helps you overcome the whole long process of mistyping, because when you mistype and you don't get to the source of who you really are, it's really going to throw you off, and you're gonna be going through your life thinking, oh, I'm a type 6, even though I'm a type 3, and I just want to be helpful, helping people, when you really deep down want to just succeed. So that could obviously...
Yeah, definitely making sure, after you take the test, of course, always share what you got with other people and see, because you always just having that different perspective from someone else will change it. Because when I first tested, I got a type 5, and my mom, and you guys were like, what? And I was like, I think that sounds like me, right? And you're like, no, retest, we're helping you again. And knowing I was a 9 changed so much. So, also, make sure you comment below and let us know what type you are, because we'd love to hyperanalyze you. Just kidding. We'd love to know what type you are, and we'd love to hear also what your wing is and how knowing your Enneagram will change your mindfulness journey. So, comment below.